Immigration is reshaping our landscape, contributing to the fastest population growth in half a century, with the population reaching 68.3 million in 2023. Yet the sharp rise in immigration is creating a paradox of opportunity and challenge, especially as many irregular migrants remain in limbo, held in expensive accommodation at taxpayers' expense. This approach is unsustainable, both financially and socially, and prevents the UK from harnessing the potential benefits of migration. The recent ONS data presents a stark picture. Deaths now outnumber births, making it the first time in 50 years outside of the pandemic that the natural population change has declined so sharply. With fertility rates falling, the UK increasingly depends on immigration to sustain its workforce and address demographic decline. Jonathan Portis from King's College London underscores this point in the FT today, noting that the country will rely on migration to balance out these long-term trends. However, the current policy approach towards irregular migrants is squandering potential gains. As it stands, many irregular migrants are held in temporary accommodation that is not only expensive, but also prevents these individuals from contributing actively to our economy. This missed opportunity is exacerbated by the growing pressure on public services and housing, a pressure that, as Madeline Sumption from Oxford's Migration Observatory highlights, necessitates significant investments in infrastructure. Keir Starmer's recent meeting with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni signals a push for tougher migration controls, yet focusing solely on enforcement without integrating irregular migrants already in the UK risks perpetuating a cycle of costs and constraints. These individuals could fill essential roles, alleviate workforce shortages, and, if given legal pathways, contribute positively and happily to public finances. Keeping people in this sort of limbo in hotels breeds a fifth column of resentment in our society. And even if they go back to their own countries, they will harbour that resentment. People who come here should go back to their own countries and should champion our values. That's the whole point of taking in foreign students, for example. Foreign students return to their own country and act as unofficial ambassadors for Britain. There is, of course, a valid concern that the skill levels of incoming migrants and the pressure on public services, maybe the skill levels are not quite up to scratch. But many migrants bring valuable skills that can be worked on. They bring energy, they bring drive, they bring initiative, they bring a different way of looking at things. By providing legal status to those who are already here, the UK can shift from a reactive to a proactive stance on immigration. And this shift would not only mitigate costs, but would also allow the country to strategically address its demographic and economic needs. The current policy of keeping irregular migrants in expensive limbo in hotels reflects a lost opportunity for the UK as it struggles to accommodate the principles of Brexit. With thoughtful integration policies, the UK can turn the demographic tide in its favour, transforming immigration into a lever for growth, stability, and renewed national strength, as opposed to some sort of albatross round its neck.